Hey folks, how you doing? It's been a while since I stood in front of this camera and did some Azure updates, and because we're reaching the end of March 2022, what I want to do is look back on the announcements that Microsoft have made and look at what's trying to be retired or what's going to be retired in the future. So please do smash that like button if you've enjoyed this video, and if you are a new person visiting my channel, do hit that subscribe button because you will get new videos, and I have found my mojo again in terms of creating video content, so I'd love to see you in future videos. In terms of what's been announced as retirement, we have a lot of announcements this month, so I want to go through them, and I have my trusty notepad here to try and keep me up to date and make sure I don't miss anything, so stick with me folks. So the first one is that the Azure Container Monitoring will be retired in March 2025. So you should be looking to migrate to Azure Monitor Container Insights instead. Now you'll be saying, Sarah, 2025 is ages away. I'm not going to worry about that one. But what it means is you really should be looking at your architectural diagrams and best practices and things like that, so that people aren't deploying to the Azure Container Monitoring and aren't spinning up new services right now in that area, that they're using Azure Monitor Container Insights instead. And then you can start to move anything that's off on that container monitoring platform away, and hopefully 2025 will come and have no impact on your organization and your infrastructure as well. Staying in the container realm, we've also got the Premium Container SKU, which was in public preview, will be retired in June 2022. So that's this year, and that's June. So the Premium SKU for containers is actually going to be retired, and I believe they're transitioning to Premium V3, which will be SLA backed. So that looks like that's going to be the GA or generally available option there in terms of that. So again, have a look, make sure you're not using the Premium Container SKU, because it will be retiring in June 2022. Also, with Azure SDK libraries, they're going to expire in March, or retire, sorry, in March 2023. And that's because they do not conform to the current Azure SDK guidelines. So they'll be retired March 2023. Again, one for the future, but again, one to have a look at if you're using Azure SDK libraries in your environment. So the event grid on Azure IoT Edge public preview will be retired in March 2023 as well. So the team are asking you to migrate to the MQTT broker on Azure IoT Edge instead. So that again is another one to watch out for in the future if you're running some of that IoT Edge environment in your environment. So also we've got the IoT Hub on Azure Stack Hub. Public preview will be retired in September 2022. So you're looking to migrate to the Azure IoT Edge Gateway by September this year as well. So again, the IoT Hub on Azure Stack Hub, which is not easy to say, will be retired in September. So really start to look towards driving to the Azure IoT Edge Gateway adoption instead. So there's some Azure Dedicated Host SKUs that will be retiring in March 2023. So there's a whole heap of them. So DSv3 Type 1, DSv3 Type 2, ESv3 Type 1 and ESv3 Type 2 will all be retiring. So look at upgrading your dedicated hosts. So if you're running any Azure dedicated hosts, take note and look towards planning, because March 2023 will be the retiral date for some of the SKUs in that area. So we've got some of the Azure Classic services starting to retire as well. And hopefully there's not a lot of people on the Azure Classic ones, but if you are still running some environments there, please do look at migrating them. So there's some classic networking services that are going to be retired in August 2024. So again, understand if you're running any of the Azure Classic services, the original, very first Azure services, have a look at them because they will be retiring and you need to start to plan for that. Another one for 2024 is the Azure Data Lake Analytics will be retired. So start moving to Azure Synapse Analytics instead. So again, 2024 for that one. And one that I'm quite sad to actually hear about is that the Azure QnA Maker is retiring in March 2025. Now, I remember this service being around when I first started using Azure, and it was one of the first ones and easier ones that you could actually start to adopt, and we saw a lot of customers actually building that into their websites. So a bit of a sad one there that the Azure QnA Maker is being retired in March 2025. We're also seeing the Azure Time Series Insights being retired in March 2025. Another favourite one from the original days when I started using Azure. In terms of what you should use use instead of the Azure Time Series Insights, swap over to the Azure Data Explorer instead, and hopefully that will give you the capabilities that you need. So we've got another one here in the IoT world. So the classic data export in Azure IoT Central will be retired in March 2023. So that's next year. This time next year that the classic data export in Azure IoT Central will be retired. So try and migrate to the new data exports, and hopefully again that will give you the capabilities that you're needing in terms of there. And last but by no means least, the last one that's been announced in retirement is the operator assistance in Azure MFA will be retired in September 2023. So turn off that operator assistance and enable automated attendant features for phone systems instead. So yeah, lots and lots of retiros being announced, but hopefully a lot of them are in the future and you can mitigate what's happening in your environment when those retiro dates come on. So yeah, I hope you liked this video. Please do smash that like button, hit that subscribe button folks, and hopefully I will see you in my next video.